Sunday night football just ended, and are the Seattle Seahawks the best team in the league? Look, we're going to get there. But week 10 in the NFL has been another weird week where literally anything can happen. What I've been loving about this NFL season is that every game is just very predictable. Teams that have a great record can just go out and just lose. It really doesn't feel like there's a definitive favorite to win the Super Bowl. Everybody feels like they're on a kind of even playing field. It's one of those things where if you don't show up playing your best football, one of them bad teams will just beat you. You have the Seahawks and the Colts at the top of their divisions. None of us predicted that. I've just been enjoying football, man. It's very interesting to see how things turn out. It's just been, I don't know, it's just been a really fun season to me. Do y'all feel the same way? But focusing back on week 10, we've had some interesting games today, and I want to talk about a few of them. Let's start with Jacksonville and the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans pull off a crazy comeback and beat Jacksonville 36-29. This game was crazy to me. Going into the fourth quarter, I actually cut this game off. I don't know about y'all, but I try to watch as many games as possible, right? Because I want to see how every team is doing. I don't like talking about teams and I'm not really watching them. And I'm very transparent about if I'm not watching a team actively. I'll try to get as much knowledge as I can, but I have watched at least one game from every team this season. So when a game looks like it's just done, I just kind of click off of it and go watch something else. So this game, it gets in the fourth quarter. I think the Jags are winning like 29-10. I'm like, this is over. I'm looking, and I just see the Texans score going up, going up, going up. And I'm like, what is happening? So I turn back on the game, bro. And it's insane what I'm seeing. One of the sayings they have in football is 3 will get you beat. And that essentially means that field goals will get you beat in the NFL. And I think that really bit the Jags in the butt because they had way too many drives that ended in field goals. And what happened is when the fourth quarter came around and that offense it was only a matter of time before that Houston Texans defense started to play like themselves. And it really showed in the fourth quarter. And the offense of the Jazz could not produce. And what was happening? You're giving them you're having very short offensive drives. Your defense is getting tired. They are getting cooked on the defensive side of the ball. Touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. And at that point, the Texans just got hot at the right time. For the last few weeks, Bills fans have been telling me how bad their wide receiver core is. I've watched 2 Bills games. It was the first week versus the Ravens, and then I watched them versus the Falcons, obviously. So I didn't really see that much of it, but today it was as clear as day that a lot of their wideouts are just not getting any separation, bro. Keon Coleman was a player I was really high on going into this season. I thought he really was going to make that next jump to be one of the best receivers in the league, and he just hasn't been that at all. Watching this game today, he really struggles with getting separation, man. I don't know if he's slow off the line. I don't know if it just looks like he has a hard time separating from the receiver. I don't know if he's slow. I don't know if it's an effort thing, but I feel like he should be bullying a lot of these DBs, and he's just not. I think the Bills should have shopped a bit more at the trade deadline for a wide receiver. They legit don't have a downfield threat. They don't have a wide receiver 1 right now. Like, who would you consider their wide receiver 1? You really have to think about it. And I just think Josh Allen doesn't really I hate to be that guy, right? Because I kind of hate when people do that, when they be like, well, my QB doesn't have any weapons. That's why he's not great. Because I feel like that mindset is kind of a cop-out a lot of times for your favorite QB. But watching this game, I'm like, man, these wideouts are really having a hard time getting separation. Like, Josh Allen a lot of times has to wait for something. Like, he has to really wait, right, for something to get open. And that leads into him maybe rushing, maybe forcing a throw, because they just aren't getting separation fast enough. And I wouldn't consider the Dolphins like an upper echelon defensive team. I think they're kind of middle of the road, kind of like the lower. I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know where they fall at. But just to watch them offensively and to watch particularly focus on those wide receivers, they have to be better, man. If their aspirations right now are to win a Super Bowl, I don't see how the Bills do that right now with that wide receiver core. Josh Allen is literally going to have to be on 100% of the time, and I don't think it's happening. On the Miami side of things, they said we're going to run the ball. They committed to the run. Tua made some mistakes. He made some weird throws, but the thing was they were scoring so many points, it didn't really matter. And that's kind of what the Dolphins were a couple of seasons ago. That's kind of what their forte was, because people are acting like Tua turning the ball over is new. No, Tua has always been a person that just turns the ball over, but it was kind of masked because they were scoring so many points to where you're like, oh, this is great offense. You know, Tua is good for like 2 to 3 interceptions, but we're going to score more points than the other team, so we're fine. This was kind of like classic Dolphins, where Tua made some mistakes, but it's okay. We're going to score enough. We're going to mask up those turnovers because we're going to score points when we get the ball on other drives. Our defense is going to help us out. This was great Dolphins football. They have actually been looking pretty okay the last few weeks. I know they had that one game where it was like, Jesus, they're back to being the Dolphins again. But that Falcons game, they looked great. This game, they've looked great. The Dolphins are I don't understand what's going on with them. The Colts beat the Falcons 31-25. Jonathan Taylor had 244 yards. I feel like I really don't need to talk too much about this. Y'all already know about my disappointment with the Atlanta Falcons franchise. I really need to give them their own video, but I'm just going to say Jonathan Taylor looks like an MVP right now. I think if he can consistently keep up the pace that he's going, I think that's one of the things that's plaguing Jonathan Taylor when it comes to being the MVP is they're predicting that he won't be able to be as consistent as he's being right now. And they think he won't stay on that same pace. But I believe if he does, then Jonathan Taylor will win MVP. This was a great Colts performance. The Falcons are such a weird team because offensively, they're bad right now. There's no way around it. Offensively, they look bad. Schemes look bad. Special teams are terrible. Defensively, that pass rush is so beautiful, bro. A lot of people judge the Falcons for giving up their first round draft pick next year because they traded up to get James Pierce. But he has looked worth every bit of that first round pick. The combination of James Pierce and Jalen Walker on that defensive side of the ball, they are terrorizing QBs. You see this game, you're like, yeah, they scored 31. The Falcons are terrible against the run. And it's mostly because they don't know how to tackle, apparently. But when you drop back against the Falcons, you will have somebody in your face. Their pass rush is really good. If their pass rush could match their run defense, they'd be incredible, right? But their rush defense is just, they can't tackle. I'm sick of people in the NFL not tackling. Wrap up. Stop trying to tackle. Why do so many players do that in the NFL? Where they try to tackle with their shoulder, like they're trying to pop the ball out. Stop doing that. Just wrap up. The Bengals Bears game, it's triggering me. Just wrap up and fall, bro. Just please. The 4 p.m. games were all blowouts for some reason. The Seahawks beat the Cardinals 44-22. The Rams beat the 49ers 42-26. The Lions beat the Commanders 44-22. The Lions game I don't really want to talk about because the Commanders just look an absolute mess. Punches being thrown in the game, refs being hit. Dan Quinn got to rope them in because they are so undisciplined right now. The 49ers game, that's a divisional matchup. You expect those to kind of go there. I mean, I expected it to be a bit closer. Matthew Stafford looks incredible. Y'all already know how I feel about Matthew Stafford. He is a vampire. The Seahawks look great. I want to talk about the Cardinals, right? Last week, the Cardinals beat up the Cowboys, right? The Cowboys defense is literally almost last in the league in every statistical category. A lot of people were very hyped on the Cardinals win. They were bashing Kyler Murray. They were saying Jacoby Brissett was the starter. But I kept a mellow head. And I came in and I said, listen, this is a great performance by Jacoby Brissett. However, I want us to remember that if Kyler is playing, I think he does that to the Cowboys defense too. And my point was, I don't think Kyler Murray is the long-term answer for the Arizona Cardinals. I don't think he's a bad player at all. But I just feel like, sometimes you just need new scenery. Sometimes it just boils down to that in the NFL and sports in general. Sometimes you just need a new environment and it's just not working. I don't think Kyler Murray is the answer for the Arizona Cardinals. I think in the offseason they trade him. I don't know what year he is in his contract, but I think they just trade him at the end of the season or release him. I don't know what they do, but they get rid of him. Jacoby Brissett is the answer too. It's basically what I'm getting to. The Cardinals' problem does not start and stop with Kyler Murray. Their run game is not good at all. It's basically non-existent. Defensively, they don't really have nothing over there either. They're just from top to bottom. They're a team that needs a lot of work. So obviously, as the quarterback, they are the brain of the team. That's where you're going to start when you're criticizing. And Kyler Murray has gotten his fair share of criticism with the Call of Duty stuff, the stuff being put in his contract. I don't know Kyler Murray on a personal level. I don't know about Kyler Murray's work ethic. The only thing I could judge Kyler Murray by is what I see on the football field. And he's inconsistent at times, but I think that's just the Arizona Cardinals in general. So going to this game and just to watch them get obliterated by the Seahawks, the score is closer than what the game actually looked and felt like. Look, it's to be expected. Kyler Murray's going at the end of the season. They're going in a rebuild. They got Marvin Harrison Jr. and they got a dream, baby. They're going into a rebuild. On the flip side of that, let's talk about the Seahawks. The Seahawks, to me, they're up there with the Rams in terms of the most complete teams in NFL. I don't think any of us predicted Sam Darnold having this type of season. I don't think anybody, I said this before, what impressed me the most about Seattle is them on a defensive side of the ball. I think that's going underrated, bro. They got dogs over there on the defensive side of the ball. They had Jacoby Brissett in absolute hell today. Look, they look great defensively. JSN is looking like one of the best top 3 receiver in the league. Sam Darnold is playing not at a good level. He is playing at a great level. You saw a glimpse of it last year when he was with the Vikings. And Sam Darnold's story is so interesting to me. And I really want to dig into it later. And I want y'all to think about Sam Darnold's age. I think Sam Darnold is only 28 years old, right? You think about Sam Darnold, you're like, damn, Sam Darnold has been in the league forever. Or at least it feels like it because he played for the Jets. But he's only 28 years old. He is not by any means an old quarterback. He is still a kid, bro. Wow, you know what I say when I mean kid. But like, he's still young. So Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield are 2 players to me that are perfect examples of good things come to those that wait. You wait, they develop, they get better, they shine, bro. A lot of franchises, a lot of GMs are just impatient with players. And sometimes it's just, I'm not a good fit here. You watch Baker in Carolina, you think he's washed. You think he's terrible. You watch Sam Darnold and Jets, you're like, he's a bust. And then they find the right team. They find the coach that believes in them. They look great, man. Speaking of Baker Mayfield, the Bucs and the Patriots played today. The Patriots did win this game. I didn't watch too much of this game. I was kind of in and out of it. I think I caught like the last few drives. So I can't speak to what actually happened really in this game. I don't want to be a box score watcher, so I'm going to hold off on completely talking about it. But Drake May looks like he had another great performance. That defense looked like they played pretty well. The thing about the Bucs is they're always going to be scrappy. They're always going to be feisty. I believe with that win, the Patriots have beaten the entire NFC South. They beat the Falcons. I know they beat the Saints. They beat the Panthers, and now they beat the Bucs. So they just swept the NFC South, which honestly, the NFC South is a lot more fun than I thought it would be this season. But yeah, I don't have much to say about Drake May this week. I didn't get a chance to watch that game. It is what it is. Let me know how you did in the comment section. And yeah, that was week 10 of the NFL. Another weird week. A bunch of weird. It's so strange to look at what the standings are because it was like, that's why I like football versus like, I like basketball. I like baseball. I like a bit of hockey. We lost our hockey team, so, you know, not as much. But The thing I like about football is how unpredictable it can really be. Because if you told anybody like going into the season, what the top 5 teams in the NFL would be right now, they wouldn't believe you. But we have some great games. We have some boring games. We have some games I just didn't get a chance to watch, so I didn't really talk about them. Like the Sunday night football game, I watched the majority of it, but I was just like, I really didn't take much from that. But let me know how your team did in the comment section below. Did they do great? Did they do bad? How are you feeling about your team? How are you feeling about this NFL season? As always, everybody, enjoy football.